Who was the person that was concerned about the end?
Oh,
Which,
like the intro outros.
yeah,
Um,
who was concerned about that?
I think that was like it came from this Designscape Ottawa.
that's Matt.
But
I
that's
think
Matt,
that's
right?
Matt's.
Yeah,
That's his other company. Yeah,
yeah. Hardscape
his
Ottawa.
drawings are pretty phenomenal. Like
This is
his
the end.
rendering.
This is
Everything that guy does is phenomenal.
Yeah, Matt's very good.
Like he's there's some driveways that actually I think Tackle Block shared it. The
the
driveway he did.
triangle driveway.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was
Yeah.
so sick. Like just I wish I had that kind of passion for it.
Yeah, I lost that. You're right. Like,
The passion you have to carry to design that and then carry it through. It's like even to look at it, I look at it and I see every painful part of it to make it happen. Like those pavers are 100 mil, those pavers are 80 mil, those pavers. I guarantee that none of it didn't work perfectly in the module. Like but it's incredible. But I don't see that. I wish I did. I wish like my last really passionate thing was that fan driveway we did.
oh yeah, I remember that one.
27,000 squadras.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was my last really passionate thing, I think. And then I just
Did you lose it after that job or like during that job?
so Jordan and Derek from DPR did most of that job. I think that I started to question my like why.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think I started. I honestly, like to be like brutally honest, but I think I started thinking to myself, "Am I only designing and trying to build this stuff to feed my own ego on social media?
Yeah.
Like, is there any other reason why I would do like that driveway's ridiculous and a momentous achievement if you see it live. Like the fans changing color halfway through the fan is insane for the path that comes. Like it's just the whole thing is just the amount of time and effort and planning and cutting and like but I think at the end of it when I was staring at the driveway I was like what like we could have laid this in big 100 mil slabs with a vacuum lifter and everyone would have been, oh, that's cool, man. Put it to some good music and got 150,000 views. Like I just like, I don't know. I think I think it was just a little like, I think that was the last thing I did that was really, I mean, we've built a lot of beautiful stuff, but I mean like outrageously complex, like I think we've still done some really, really beautiful job. Like we did a Unilock one last year, big backyard. That's all you care in. It's like the fireplace is black and it has black coping and it looks like at night the fire's coming out of nothing. Beautiful. It was a beautiful job too, but it wasn't on that like that level of stuff like that driveway with the triangles. It's just like that's. I don't know if I'll ever be there. Maybe I'll be there again.
I got like the whole starving artist thing, right? Like I got too attached to the money of doing things easier, not doing things cheaper or anything, which is like you say, we'll do this whole driveway in big slab and it'll be done in a week instead of 3 weeks. And I'll put that money in my pocket, fold it over and walk over to the next one. Like I used to think I'm going to do beautiful things forever. And now as they get older, I'm still going to do some nice things, but I don't have to do this forever. And if I can put enough money in my pocket, I can even do it for less time. Not that I don't love what I do, but
I think too, like if you look at the timing for me, that was probably the last big thing we did before the pandemic. And I think that during the pandemic, I felt like I've been smashing my head against the wall and not, to be honest, not necessarily in hardscaping, but I mean in life. My whole life, I feel like I'm just smashing my head against a fucking wall during the pandemic that like everything I do is hard. Like even like, having to get vaccinated so my daughter could play fucking soccer, like stuff like that. Like I think it just took some of the, like where I used to spend a certain amount of time bashing my head against the wall creating artistic projects like that like really artistic projects like that fan driveway, and even thinking of it in my mind. I think now I'm like, I started having to spend a lot of time being like, do I have to wear a mask at the grocery store this week, or is there different rules, or am I on my 5th or 8th booster, or what's like, it just, there's so many other things that were in my mind for the last 2.5 years. But
Yeah.
now that maybe some of this is grinding to a halt, maybe I actually said to Kelly today, like, I haven't, well, I dug that on Instagram today. I posted a picture from 2016 of us doing large slabs in multiple textures, which in 2016, when they first came out with those slabs, everyone was like, oh, no one's going to do anything with those slabs. They're so fucking big. So I was like, oh, let's do a cool job out of them. And it's like they're long running bond with 3 of 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 1. And it's all textured. It's blue, grande, chestnut brown text. Anyways, I posted the picture today to be like, hey guys, like 2016, I was rocking these fucking slabs. But I was thinking to myself, was I more inspired in 2016? Or probably I just wasn't bashing my head against as many walls outside of the business, I guess. I think it just, for me, who I am as a person, it just kind of became hard to exist over the last 2 years. And I never adjusted I don't know. I just, like, if someone says,
you're also doing so much more with like taking on trucking and expanding the business too, right?
Yeah, that's true. It is, like, but I think now I'm just like, if someone says to me, I want to do a complete Bestway Glacier Creek Travista textured patio, I'm like, cool, great, let's do it in a rectangle, maximize your space. And they're like, awesome, let's do that. I'm like, okay, great, let's go. And the job's beautiful and it's structured properly and the guy's doing an amazing job. But there was a time in my life when I would have immediately said, well, what if we did an inlay here and we did this and we added a board here? And I don't passionately invite that conversation at this moment now. I might next year, see how the winter goes.
Would you do that driveway again, Mike? If someone asked you to duplicate that driveway across town or something.
If Jordan and Derek would do it with me again, I'd do it with them.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd do it on my own. I would do it with them. They're 27, 28 and passionate. And
yeah, they got a fire.
Yeah, and they have a great youthful energy with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of the things I love about doing business with them and being involved with them is their youth and their energy. I think it keeps me younger and keeps me on my toes. And I would do it again if I had the right team again. I think we had the right team last time because that driveway was a total team effort, like between design and sale and everything. It was a team effort. So if we had the right team and the right client again, I would do it again. But there's a lot of complicating factors. Plus, if Techo Block even has that much Squadra available anymore.
How's the polymeric sand?
Pallets. Yeah.
No one's called me about it, and I haven't invited any conversation. It's G2 Max in that driveway. It's like the best sand, and Jeff came and installed it with us. So
gotcha.
I think that I haven't heard boo about it, and we had to do a little repair in it, which was like crazily painful because to lift it and then put it back, and the sand was like crazy hard. It worked really well. So I think
you must have pre-compacted.
And this just got cut off.
Can you imagine pre-compacting those? Oh my god.
That would have fucked it right up.
There goes the fan.
There goes the fan.
So we did not. I don't think I'm pleading the fifth on whether or not we pre-compacted the fan driveway. 100% sure. I'm pretty sure we did it with a roller packer.
Well, that would do it. Yeah. Is that an approved packer?
Approved.
I think so.
Is that the next thing?
How to install sand and where to wear a mask in Ontario are similar things in my brain. Okay, I struggle with them.
All these rules, right? Rules are normal now.
There's a lot of rules.
A lot of rules.
You got to follow them. It just I don't know. Would you redo some of the stuff that you built earlier in your career, Chet?
Oh, um,
When I first started following
yeah,
you, you used to build some crazy shit.
yeah. I used to build some fun ones. Yeah, I would do a couple of them, but yeah, no, yeah. I don't know. If you, yes, yeah, I wouldn't change anything. I'm happy with them.
But would you do them now? That's what I'm
Would
asking.
I do them now? I gravitate away from them now just because when used to do those jobs, I used to be the one there on the saw doing the cutting,
Mm.
loving it, making sure everything was phenomenal. And the guys still do that, right? The guys can still do all of that stuff. But if they don't do something the exact way that I would want it, I mean, there goes the whole vision, right? Like it was either my vision or it's
Yeah.
their vision. But I could have the guys on a nice residential patio, and I can be in an hour away doing bombing in some topsoil or Harley raking some topsoil or something like that, and have the two sites going, and taking in two streams of revenue. Uh, yeah, I don't know. That's a tough question. I would do them again if I were a smaller scale company. Like if I took the commercial aspect out of what I do and just went back to residential landscape, yeah, I think I could bang out some cool ones, some fun ones. Um, but it just doesn't make sense right now unless someone really wants it. Um, and I mean, the price point would have to be right for that now because I used to do that shit for free, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
all this cool stuff, like the bad business owner in me just said, yeah, let's just do it and make it cool. And then everyone will love you for it. But
I think that one of the things that intimidated me away from a lot of those style of projects was the need for multiple different kinds of pavers and trying to make sure there's availability of those pavers.
that's true too.
At one time, if we did a job that had the same color, but like every single product that chestnut brown comes in the job, all the same color, like crazy amounts of texture change and like shape change and directional change. I mean, it's a crazy job. Beautiful. Um, I wouldn't do it today though, because I'd probably get shorted on at least 3 or 4 of those items just because of shortages in the industry. So like now it's more like, do you have six? Well, we're doing a front walkway, and I emailed the supplier today and was like, "Hey, man, like, do you have 800 square feet of this or 650 square feet?" And he's like, "I have 812, which is probably like 8 bundles in a layer or some shit." And I was like, "Just," I emailed him back because just reserve it all, take it all.
Yeah.
But back in the day, I would have needed 300 of that and 300 of something else and 100 of some inlay I'm doing in front of the front door. And like, I think that it's harder to do it. So I know. Would you redo the biggest job you've ever done, Mike?
Redo.
Would you do it
Yeah,
now?
because from the beginning, I never really got into like really complex things. Like there was a couple where like the clients would be like, how could we make this like, the next step? Like what else could we do? Oh, we could blend like another, like one of these trends is to blend another color blend into this. Okay, let's do that. Like what else could we do? Like I've had a couple of clients do that, but for the most part, like my style is just clean and simple, as opposed to getting like really complex with things. And that's kind of always been my style. So even when I am designing like a backyard that we're going to be doing coming up here is just going to be blue grande smooth shale gray with a 6x13 border, and then we're going to mix in some squadra around the pool coping, and like and the squadra is going to be like shale gray onyx blacks mixed. That's about as like complex as I get. I don't try to complicate things any more than that. I never have. Never.
I think in the last maybe 2 years, landscapes have gotten really gaudy. Like everybody's throwing everything in there, trying to impress in a lot of ways. And I'd like to think some style is coming back into things, and we're toning it down a little more. Just because you're not trying to impress so much with putting 20 different materials in there, or the borealis inlay that doesn't work with the slate texture or something, or maybe it does, maybe it's just me. But
it's good when it's their forever home, right? Like every client that I've had that like wants to push the design aspect and like add different aspects that I personally wouldn't do, it's because it's been there, like they're gonna live there forever. And I make a point to like ask them on that, because I do say like, hey, we can mix textures, but that could go out of style. You just don't know really what's going to come in and out of style. But what's always going to necessarily be in style is something that's simple. That's like, you got your field and you got your border, and it's simple. It's going to be in style. It's always going to be in style. But like you guys have seen things come in and out of style throughout your careers, right? Like circle kits, things like this, and different sizes of pavers and everything like that. So that's what I always tell them.
Yeah, that's true. I had this lady once. She's like, "Can you put a circle in my walkway?" And whenever I started it, like since I started, they didn't make these fucking circle kits, right? With the round piece in the center and then the fan that comes out beyond that. So yeah. So so I'm like, yeah, I can cut a circle in here. I cut it out and I put that, what's that, like an Antica sort of look, right? I just filled it with that. She comes out, she's like, oh, I thought the pavers would be in the shape of a circle. And it's like, well, they stopped making that like 15 years ago. And I didn't understand the concept that she wanted something old whenever I was new, and this is how they were doing things right now. Like I didn't understand the style changes and stuff, right? And I mean, it's cyclical. Maybe that stuff will all come back in style. It
usually does, right? Like fads usually come and go, right?
Whenever I have people who are worried about the cost of pavers, I always say the same thing to them. The patio is irrelevant. It's who you sit on the patio with.
That's deep.
Dang. This still deep. Part of is this like our extended hour? Because like that just made the podcast.
I've said that for like 10 or 15, because people like feel bad because they'll flip open the catalog to something that costs $10 or $12 a square foot, and they'll be like, I want that. And I'll be like, like I'm just letting you know, like that's $10 or $12 a square foot, and you're talking like you have 1,000 square feet here. Like just letting you know, like you're expanding your cost of your pavers by $4,000 by picking that. If it's worth it to you, I'm not here to judge. I'm just letting you know. And they'll be upset, and I'm like, does it like honestly really matter like what the patio is made out of, as long as it's functional space that drains well, and who's on the patio with you matters more. But that's like the greatest secret of the industry. The greatest secret of the industry is like when people look at the ads for pavers, they look at all the people enjoying themselves on the patio. They don't look at the fucking inlay in the patio. It's the same as like if a driveway is 4x8 pavers and there's 4 cars parked on it, no one knows that it's 4x8 pavers, or if it's the fucking fan driveway, because all they see is the 4 cars parked on it. Like there's an endless amount of stuff that all of us do that we are only doing for when another landscaper walks by or drives by.
You're right. I think you just added too much value to this.
Oh God, please.
This portion of the show.
If that doesn't get us 3 more listeners,
that was deep.
I don't know what else will.
Wow,
that's 3 more listeners. Yeah.
Wow.
I drive by and look at stuff like we did this like really sick job. Like I was like $275,000 job, and like I don't know, like 2011, which back then was like crazy money, right? To me, anyways, in 2011. and I go back. The driveway's still mint because we did it the right way. And I've been back. I've done a couple things around the house since, but like every time I go there, the driveway's sick, but it's got like 5 cars parked on it. So I'm like, I'm gonna go by and take a picture of that house. And I go by, I'm like, oh, there's a picture of 5 cars on the freaking driveway. Sick. Glad I spent so much time on that motherfucker. Like, I just people cover shit in patio front. Like,
Yeah.
like our patio at home, we did it last year. It's built out of a discontinued colored paver. That's autumn red, which I actually like the color. I used it on a few jobs because I thought it was a unique color. It's not like the old school red. It's got
I like that red actually.
really, yeah, I did. It's got a nice beige in it. It was so. Anyways, our patio's this autumn red paver because it was discontinued, and I got a good deal on it. And I when I was building it, I was like, yeah, I don't care if I'm sitting out here with my wife and my kids or whatever. Like, no one's gonna be like, this red patio is totally ruining my experience in your backyard. I'm never coming back here because your patio is autumn red. I'm literally never coming to your yard. I can't stand being in this yard. No one's ever said that. So I guess
we did this autumn red. It was an entranceway with a driveway apron, but the guy had a big like storm sewer because it was one of those driveways that are one of those garages that are underneath the house with the driveway pitching. So we did this big autumn red inlay around this storm sewer, but it looked like a butthole that was irritated because it was like a fiery red around this like rusted manhole. It just the client didn't like. We didn't tell that to the client, but all we could think of is like an irritated butthole.
Speaking of weird
driveway,
one of the most disappointing moments of my whole landscaping career. We did this huge patio, and in the patio were 2 catch basins. And this was a long time ago before all these like wrought iron rusted things were in style. And I convinced this homeowner to pay for these wrought iron drains that patina that look like a sun in the middle of the patio. I mean, they're fucking beautiful. And so we put them in the patio, and we got on the roof, and I have pictures from up above, and I have pictures like I'm going to find them and post them and mention them because these things were just so fucking perfect, and they were patinaing. They looked amazing. It was before that rust thing was really in style because this was like 2010, maybe. I think we did this. That was a long time ago. And I was so happy with them. And I went by one day to meet them about doing some project out front. And I went in the backyard, and they had fucking spray painted them black because they didn't like the rust. I was like, it looks like plastic. It looks like a plastic sun. Like, why would you do that? It looks like a weird black plastic sun. I was like, it was so perfect before. And they were like, well, we didn't like them, and it's our house. And I'm like, now I say to people all the time, it's your house. I'm going to be here for a brief time.
Yeah.
We'll build what you want. Like, because I learned my lesson with the rusting suns. I gotta find they're just so epically like, because this has like a granite stairway going up, like natural granite stairway on one side, and then we used real cobblestones as the border because she didn't want fake cobblestones, so we actually cut cobblestones in half down to 60 mil. Well, some of them we cut twice to get them 60 mil and laid them around. The job is epic project. Minus she wouldn't let us get rid of the concrete ring around the pool, but whatever, I digress. And these like perfect suns, and they just spray painted them black with trim clad. Trim cladded those motherfuckers. I was like, oh my god, like, you're breaking my heart. Like, because when people came over and sat on the deck, they'd be looking down at this, like the drains that should have been ugly. The drains that should have been ugly and been a huge deterrent to the whole job became like the highlight of the project. And now they've gone back to looking like cheap plastic black drains. Anyways,
Oh well.
do
Looks
we,
good
have,
for the
do
401.
we have enough for the extra episode?
We may have extended it enough for that extra episode.
I think
so.
you gave him too much with those comments. That
Well,
insight.
at least with that comment, like even if this is a 3-minute episode, we're good.
We're good.
They at least got something out of that.
Yeah, download this for a 3-minute commentary. So should we announce this is the end? Because I think we need to make a conscious point.
Yeah.
Because we have to do what the listeners want. We announced the end once, but then we didn't end. So now this is the end of the second end of the third end of the side order of ending. Right now.
Right now.
This
Well,
moment.
there's a whole nother thing is in like this podcast never ends. Like every episode, you know, it's kind of like when we hang up the towel, when we call it quits, that's when we'll give you your outro, right?
Hang on. When our incredible wealth from being 235th most downloaded podcast divides us, and we can't divide the wealth because we didn't give proper credit like the lead singer of U2 did. What's his fucking name?
Bono.
He gave writing credit to everyone in the band so they wouldn't break up over money. But he wrote all the songs.
Mike, do we get writing credit on all these episodes, me and Chad?
Why wouldn't we all get writing credit? Everyone's talking. Everyone's talking. Why wouldn't we all get writing credit? Like, I'm just saying that he did that so the band wouldn't break up. So when we get rich from this podcast, when we're Joe Roganing,
We're
this
not going to break
motherfucker,
up. Yeah.
we're moving this to we will. I don't know if you guys saw my note, but when I get deplatformed like Tate,
Who's that? Is that the
Andrew Tate,
Oh yeah. I have a daughter.
I saw that.
top G.
I don't know anything about him other than he speaks poorly about women, and
He actually doesn't. If you listen to everything,
See,
he
I don't-
says, but
I don't know.
he does periodically while he speaks. Anyways, he's the top G, and he got deplatformed. So I'm like, am I going to get deplatformed? Find me over on Rumble. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Like they're like, get him on Rumble, and I'm like, I don't even know what Rumble is. I don't follow him anyways. He just came in my TikTok 5,000.
Is that like Grinder?
No, I just found out what Rumble was this weekend because
I don't know
of
what
that.
it is.
Exactly what Mike's saying there. It's just like a YouTube for anybody. Like they don't take anybody off.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to hear a funny story that I heard?
Is this still part of the episode? Or is this,
Yeah, this is fun.
Should I-
This is extending
Okay.
the extended episode.
Okay.
Talking about Andrew Tate. So a guy that works for us. This was years ago. That someone just told me the story. Was joined Bumble, which is like a dating app, I guess. I didn't know this,
Yeah.
but it's some kind of dating app. And you get Bumble points, and the more Bumble points you get, the more it introduces you to women. So one of the ways to get Bumble points is this is like you're really getting a bonus episode here because now we're talking about a dating app.
yeah.
This is where the real business advice comes from on this.
I just need to say the way you mentioned that, like the more Bumble points you get, it starts introducing you to women. So it's like you got to start off with the men first, work your way through the men,
So
and
this
then you
is-
start to get points, and then it's like, okay, now it's
So this is how it was explained to me. One of the ways to get some Bumble points is to let Bumble send an email or a text to everyone in your phone, in your Rolodex or whatever they call it, your contacts. If you hit yes, you get you get Bumble points for every single person that gets invited to Bumble by you, and then you get more when they join. Unfortunately, if you hit that button, it also sends that to your wife.
Oh.
wow.
Wow.
It does not define who the person is in your contacts when you hit the yes button. Nor does it give you any extra points for you inviting your wife to the dating app you just joined.
Wow. Holy, I wasn't expecting you to go there with that.
No.
It was just an interesting story that got shared with me this week.
So this is one of your old employees or current?
I'm just going to say,
Or is he dead now?
I don't know if there's anyone that worked with us that's dead. Potentially, it's
no,
going to be.
I'd assume his wife would have killed him
Oh yeah,
after that.
I'm assuming.
Like,
yeah,
that's
he is. He's around. I'll say
He's
that
around.
much. He's around. He's not dead. His wife didn't kill him. He's around.
Man.
Maybe that was a better way to get caught. In way less trouble, really.
Yeah.
You haven't actually done anything. You've thought about it. Actually done it.
Yikes.
Like,
Oh, man.
I do have some great stories about.
Fumble?
No, no stories about Fumble. I am way. I can't lie about any. I'm the worst fucking liar. I forget. I'm terrible at it. I found it easier just to smash my face against the wall and tell the truth about everything because I'm just so shitty at like just remembering what I lied about. So I can't keep track of it because my brain just doesn't function that way. No,
Maybe it's for the best. Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about the truck drivers dying.
Truck drivers.
Have we
dying.
talked about this on that podcast? I'm due. So when I was 20, 22, there was a guy who worked at like our company was owned by half of an excavating company, and there was we'd hired that excavating company in the past at the previous company I worked for, and I'd known this guy for quite a while, and then the companies all joined together in a very confusing long part of the story that doesn't matter. And then so the next spring, when everyone came back to work, I said, "Where's such and such?" And they said, "Oh, he retired." I went, "Sick. That's amazing that he retired. He can spend more time with his grandchildren. They said, "No, bro, he retired. He died." And I went, "What?" And they said, "You don't retire from construction, bro. You just work till you die. Welcome to life at 20. And I was like, "So I got to do this till I die?" And they're like, "Yeah, you're going to be doing this till you die. There is no out. There's no getting away from it. You just do it and you do it and you do it some more. And then you get tired and hurt and pain. And then you do it some more. And sooner or later you become a truck driver because you can't physically do any of the other work, or you operate equipment and then you die. Hopefully not while you're operating it or driving." So I now in general, mostly this year, have started driving one of the trucks. And I'm like, I am in fucking trouble.
Sounds like heaven to me.
I'm like, I am going to retire. Like, fuck, I don't want to retire. I'm going to go back and start doing installs next year because I feel like I'm in better shape than it. Like this year, I've spent 80% of my time driving one of the trucks.
Which is appealing though, like, because
I love it.
Like I posted last week, I hopped in the hook truck there, and I can't drive that thing on the road, right? Like I'm not licensed for that yet. But I can sure spin it around the yard 5 or 6 times. I get it up to third gear. I think it's the greatest thing. Like maybe
It is.
Maybe it's awesome. Like I never I didn't think I would be into it like that. Like it's cool.
I love driving it. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. Yeah. When I was a little kid, I dreamed of having trucks, dump trucks, and like I love them so much. I don't know that they're a particularly profitable version of a part of our business, but I love them so much. Like it's like I do what makes you happy. It makes me happy to. I love seeing them. I love having them. I love watching them drive by me. I love everything about them.
I love sitting at the yard and looking at the equipment more than I love looking at patios that I've installed. If that means anything, I don't know why.
I feel that.
It's maybe because I created them both, right? Like I created the patio, but I also created this business where I can line up 5 or 6 trucks and just stare at them. Be like, yeah, I don't know which one's more valuable to me, but I would rather look at the trucks than the patio.
Well, we have currently 14 bins in the yard. We have 15 bins, but 14 of them are in the yard this weekend.
Are they all numbered or does it matter? Like just
They're not
mean-
numbered. I have no identifying marks on the bin. So
Nothing.
one of the other bin suppliers, my friend, he called me, goes, "Why can't I put bins on the road and you can't? And you can?" I said, "Because my name isn't on the fucking bins, idiot. Like no one knows whose they are. They
Yeah.
drive by them, and they're like, oh, there's a black bin.
Yeah.
If my name was on it, Paver King, they'd be like, hey, this guy's bin's in my fucking way. I'm gonna call him right now."
Yeah.
So there's 14 bins in the yard, and on one level, I'm like, there's 14 bins in the yard. We're gonna go bankrupt. No one's using our bins anymore. Everyone hates us. On the flip side of that, I'm like, man, all those bins look really cool.
Yeah.
Sitting there,
Yeah.
all lined up. Cody has them all in a perfect row. They look cool as shit. Like it's hard for me to delineate between the two. What's like, am I throwing up because there's so much money in bins sitting in the yard, or am I happy because they're all in a nice neat row? And they're actually, I was happy they were home for the long weekend because I don't like them sitting around on the long weekends on the road. And the only one that's out is in one of my buddy's yards. He's filling it with concrete this weekend. So like I
Do you get random people like putting furniture in them and stuff?
never.
Like, is that a thing? Never.
No,
That happens around here. Like, if you leave a bin out, it's got an old patio set in it.
There's
or
a
something,
furniture
you
in
know.
there.
There's furniture, a couch in it. My dad passed a couple of years ago, so well, obviously I didn't have my hook truck, but my one of my partners had his hook truck. I asked him to drop a bin out front, and we were just like, me and my brother didn't have the stomach to save everything and fucking Kijiji or whatever, sell it, whatever, right? So we're putting stuff in the bin, and these people were coming along, and they're, oh, can we take some stuff from the bin? It's whatever, man. Go ahead, go nuts, take what you want. They ended up in the bin, and they were like trying on old coats and stuff like that, and they were like,
Cornwall.
oh, yeah, that's fucked, right? One of these guys that we put an old hat in the bin. It was like a fucking raccoon hat or something like that. It was in the fucking in a dresser for like 20 years or something, right? Nobody knew it was there. Anyway, the guy took the hat, put it on his friend's head, and booped his friend on the top of the head. I swear it was like straight out of like the Three Stooges or something, right? And like, oh my god. So anyway, we get a lot of shit. If you leave a bin out, people are going to put shit in it or take shit from it.
That's why we're not allowed to do garbage bins on our insurance. Like the
Oh,
whole story you just described there. 100%.
diving in the bin.
People call me, they're like, can I get a garbage bin from you? I'm like, no.
We're gonna do garbage.
'Cause
Actually,
Our bins are too low. If you're going to do garbage, you have to have tall bins so people can't
Oh,
see them.
yeah, we the guys did a dump run because we had more plastic than we could burn at the yard. They had to take it to they had to take it to the dump this time. Anyway, first time the hook truck's ever been to the dump. We lost a mud flap at the dump. Our mud flaps were too low.
Yeah,
We got
yeah.
caught underneath the wheel. And I guess it's really steep at the dump. I've never been there myself down in the bottom, but anyway. Battle wounds from going to the dump. And the truck stunk when I got back from there. Holy shit. Had to
Oh,
hose
yeah.
the thing down. Like yeah.
We put shorter mud flaps on all our trucks. They've all been shortened because when you dump the gravel out, it fucking rips
Yeah.
them off.
Yeah, I guess.
Especially like both our triaxles are on air. So when you dump
Yeah.
the air, as soon as you dump the air, it brings the truck down so low that the mud
Yeah.
flaps almost. And then when you put the box up, they're attached to the box, and that drives
Yeah.
them lower. I ripped them off multiple times with snow
So it's not just me. Okay.
because the snow. Generally, when you're dumping snow, you're trying to slam it as tight as you can to the next
Yeah.
pile.
So that,
It
yeah.
doesn't take up as much room. And
Yeah.
that's what we were filling out the insurance things. It was like, how much snow clearing do you do? And Kelly filled it out originally, and she had like 10% of our business comes from snow clearing. I'm like, yeah, no, 0% of our fucking business comes from the snow clearing. Zero. We're trying to get insurance or move insurance.
Snow
That's
clearing or
right.
snow relocating?
So there's a
Right.
different
That's
spot
got-
for
yeah.
third party snow haulage was
Okay.
that you could put. So it's
Yeah.
like 5% of our business or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
but third party, but this was the actual physical act of moving
Yeah,
the snow.
moving snow.
Moving snow. I was like, yeah, we're not like
Clearing it from the walkway.
we don't even load it into the trucks. Like other people load it. Like we just drive it places.
That's a sweet gig. I'd be into that in the winter.
moving the
In the
snow.
middle of the night. Yeah, just
So-
sit in a truck, and that's peaceful. I think anyway.
At first, I was like, moving snow will wreak less chaos on our life because it will be well planned, right? Like when a storm happens, it happens. It
Yeah.
does. A storm doesn't give a shit if you have hockey that night or you have like a storm. Just happens. Snow happens. But I was like, oh, the moving of snow is probably very well planned, right? Like, people will call you, they'll set up Tuesday night at 8:00. We'll start moving snow. Great, you can arrange your life. But what I realized after doing it last year was that it is epically worse than just plowing the snow. Because when you plow the snow the one night, maybe you go out the second night for cleanups, and you're kind of done with it. When you move the snow, I'm still moving. The snowstorm happens on Tuesday. I'm still moving snow on Saturday because all the property managers have to approve it. It goes on forever, the moving of snow. Like I think we ran the trucks like 7 days a week for the entire month of January and 2 weeks of February last year.
But that's nice revenue too, right?
Oh,
In
it
a
was great,
time
yeah.
whenever you
Yeah.
wouldn't necessarily have a ton of other revenue from trucking, right? So it's
No, it
nice.
was-
Well, I mean, I'd like to imagine it's nice. I don't know.
It was good. Yeah, it was great. Like it was great winter. It does wreak a lot havoc on your life longer than if you just plowed the snow.
Yeah.
Like I just thought it would be bad. Like I just thought it would be like, oh, good. Well, but then like, yeah, it's like because everyone's trying to get the snow moving approved by the property managers.
Yeah.
So some people didn't move the snow till 5 weeks after the big storm because it took 5 weeks for the property managers to approve the snow moving. Some people have it in their contract to move it the next day, regardless of where. Like big places have like GO train stations, and they all want it out of the way. They don't. It's part of the contract. But yeah, we do zero snow clearing. In case the insurance guy is listening to this fucking podcast, because I had to write it down as a form of advertisement. Because so many people are calling us from this.
Yeah.
This is where we drive the real business home. What percentage of your revenue is derived from your podcast? That's 235th in downloaded time. Anyways, it's 10 o'clock. I better go to bed.
Yeah.
Sounds
It's
good,
past my
guys.
bedtime too. Yeah, that was a good one. I think
That was a good one.